Heyo and welcome back to a new Dead by Daylight video. Yay! On Wednesday we were finally able to play the new killer, the Krasue, and I've spent the last 5 days playing her on the PTB to get a good understanding of her. Appearance wise, in her body form she looks so witty and beautiful, but then in her head form she looks so grotesque and disgusting and I love it. Design wise, a 10 out of 10 character, good job behavior, you did amazing. I'm in love with her. Her power on the other hand is also fun to use and something that I like to play. The last killer that gave me such a fun time was the Unknown. So overall, she's a great killer to play, but still has some rough edges and needs improvements from the developers. But before I get into any details, I just want to show 2 matches against good survivors so you can form your own opinion. I hope you enjoy. Alright, we are in the match with the new killer. Let's see how it goes. It's gone to head form. Nice. Now I can switch back to head form. Nah, this is not possible. But I saw someone else here. Oh, this was really nice. Yeah, first gen down. Ignore them. Nice. Ah, damn it. Watch out. Awful start, but we get to it. Like, they are good survivors, it seems like. Wait, you are here. Body block? Nice. Nice. This is something you can do, like body blocking bullets. Nah, damn it. What the fuck? They already picked up. Wow. Okay, let's get up onto you. Watch out. They will finish this generator for sure. Unless... Please let me use the painless. Thank you. Yes, they're on it. Need to switch back, which gives her the opportunity to make distance. Oh, this girl is really good. Yes. This girl is not stupid at all. I feel like I need to break this bullet. Okay, nice. Now I gotcha. Someone is working on it. Yes. I can pop it. Live, okay.
Switch back. I don't want to do this. Can I do this? Yes, I can do. Nice, I got bait. So, I can do nothing against this survivor. Oh, nice, you're here. This was your biggest mistake, my girl. I'm so sorry, and they are unhooked. I have edgy. I make it, yes. Oh, nice, she kept running. Live play, alright, alright, alright. Let's pick up. Let's pick him up, I'm so sorry. Yes, wow. Tunneling is bad, guys, tunneling is bad. Oh, they're unhooked. Dash feels kinda nice, I have to admit. Oh, he kept running. Ah, she's not infected. My bad, my bad, my bad. Let's work it. He's zoned. This girl is not making any mistakes and she's so fast. Ah, damn it. I thought this game. What are you doing here? Okay, nice stun. She's not making any mistakes, wow. Oh, I got shot. Wow, they over there. Yeah, this gen has not so much progress. Over there. Okay, got shot. And she's dead. Oh, you're vaulting, wow. Nice. Mistake, finally. Nice, gotcha. Steve can probably finish the generator. They're on it. Come on, fly, come on, fly, come on, fly, come on, fly. Yes, damn it. Or they're on a chest heap. And my fly duration is gone. Nice. Steve is on the other side. Okay, gotcha. I have no collision. Let's keep us locked. Ah, damn it. Okay. Okay, nice. Pick her up, pick her up. She's dead. Where did I down Steve? There you are. Oh, he got picked up by the power. Not by the power, but you know what I mean. I had to believe. Oh. Yeah, this was a really good match to see, like, what can I improve? Like, they're really good survivors. Like, my biggest mistake, like, was chasing the new survivor because she was really good, but if you keep chasing the weaklings, you will never improve, and I want to improve this killer, like learning how to outplay tiles, how can I use her power. So this was really nice to get an idea of, like, okay, what is possible, what can I do better. Played really well. GG. He tried to send me to RPD. A. And is one Sabo toolbox. Yeah, really nice team, really good. And yes, it's still an amazing perk. Like, it is so insane that you can still body block with the new things and everything. Like, I will make a video about it, but the new anti-slugging and anti-tunneling features not so good. Like, it doesn't as well. It's not right. But on this killer, like, it was really nice. GG, well played. Alright, we're in the match with the new killer. Let's see how it goes. Okay. Hey. Nice. And I can mobility. I can use mobility to catch up. Catch up. And we have a quick hook, and we know where they are, kinda like. One of them is still infected. Fully infected, yet this mobility. Someone is working on it. Nice. Let's kick this one for a question. Now she's broken, now she has to get rid of it. Oh yes, someone was here for a second. Ah, dude, this mobility with this add-on is so nice. And she's trapped. Yes. Yeah, you are trapped, my lady. Yes, you are trapped. I'm so sorry. We have this nice little hook. You're there. This was not my bird. Or was it? Let's get them room to rescue and everything. No one is here. Yeah, downstairs. Yes, downstairs. That's just nothing. Just the infection, aber... Yeah, but... I'm so sorry. A German voice. Oh. No. Nice, I had to believe. Oh, disgusting it. Ah. These two taps, Jesus Christ. Technically, I can ignore this bullet, but let's break it. They're upstairs. There, yeah. That's body block, nice. Gotcha. Can I do? Nope. Oh, you kind of fucked it up again. I'm so sorry, my lady. Oh, that was a nice dodge from you. Pops. Okay. Now I had an idea. Okay, she would dodge again. And I could... A little flick. Like, not a crazy flick or anything like this, but just a little flick. Yo. This mobility. Why are you still infected? Never got rid of it. I'm so sorry, lady. It's okay there. Oh, hey. I don't want to tunnel. I'll chase this little girl. I switched too early to my body form. Okay. Like, usually direct hits are whether bad or not bad, but like, you know, I won't. Not bad, but difficult, you know? You are encouraged to hit an object so it spreads after the object got hit, and this is easier to infect survivors, but if they are in a bottleneck, like this girl was, just do it. A vault. What's this girl? Now to switch. Excuse me. Not what I wanted. Nice dodge. Well, they're nice polyglot. Nice. This was really good. Aborted. Oh, that was a nice setup. You know what? Let's leave her. I'm so sorry, girl. Now she's broken, which is kind of nice, like she cannot heal. And I finished this generator. And the auto reading is kind of helpful. This is Basekit barbecue. At some point I have to break this bullet. Pretty sure. Saw the idea. Excuse me, scratch marks. Okay, nice. Took me 2 business years, but I got it. You cannot dodge this in a bottleneck like this. Oh, I got bad stuck. Ah, thank you. Yeah, working on gens. Just object of obsession. Okay, this girl is trapped. Aborted. Ah, I messed it up. It worked. It's okay there. I kinda like this build, like it is cute. Doesn't win me some matches, but the buff to oppression is really nice. I had the opportunity to chase the bot, but I don't want to chase bots, like, which is kind of boring. I rather want to chase the survivors. I mean, even though sometimes, don't get me wrong, sometimes bots are better than survivors. And I still keep forgetting the Mori. Like, I'm so sorry. Oh. Oh, there you are. Now to switch back. Oh no. I had the right idea, but RNG. Okay, bot is working on this generator. Let's see how the bot behaves. Oh wow. This is also something you can do, like, when you know, okay, you have a full hit with your power up, infection, and then M1. Bot is really good at dodging. Yes, this was also almost a miss. Okay, keep Mori in mind. You there? Not really there. Kill you. Like, I have to say, I have so many matches on the PTB. As much as possible due to queue time. But I cannot show all because many have an early DC or it's rather boring. But I'm kind of happy, like, these survivors. I'm so sorry. That went really well. Oh, there you are. Switching back. This is something you can do. Oh, it has started. Oh, I blocked the bullet. Nice. And I messed it up. I got stuck. Isn't that kind of stupid? I mean, she's safe. We both checkpoint, but we should have stayed there. By the way, I can body block this. Like, I can go through her and then body block the window, but I was sure, like, I have a feeling of the cooldown after playing some matches. Like, I'm kind of confident. As confident as this Mo is shown. It's so cool. I really love this Maui. Especially when she's in her body form. GG. And they had also normal builds, like, okay, she did. Okay, too. They have more normal builds. Okay, this one was doing her adept, which is fine. But otherwise, like, they're also testing builds, but if the... It's so nice to have nice survivors, or whether, in general, like, are you a streamer? Alright, sorry for the cut, but it's so nice to have nice players. It's always nice. Yeah, what I said, like, this is... If the changes come through, with anti-slugging, anti-tunneling, everything, like, these are the builds you will see, like, more chase perks, more exhaustion perks. Visual is still an insane perk, like, too insane, and also Ghost Notes is also insane. So they had good builds, and she had Object of Obsession. I knew it. To test things, and also an average map, I would say. So yeah, these two add-ons, in my opinion, her best add-ons, and this build is kind of cute. GG. Yeah, these were the two matches that I wanted to show you, and you have probably noticed that she has some strong potential, but also a lot of weaknesses and unhealthy aspects. I want to tell you what changes I want to see so she can become a good and healthy killer for the game that is nice to play as and against. The most annoying part of her is the transition from head to body form. Switching from body to head form feels smooth and good. There's no clunkiness and you can perform any action in no time. Very smooth, keep it up behavior. However, the opposite feels awful. It is so bad. It is so bad. There's a big slowdown that gives survivors so much distance and makes you not want to play this killer. I can understand why the developers gave her such a big penalty, because otherwise we had a Carnegie situation.
Oh no, no, no.
use the Headlong Flight to land on top of the survivor, and then you switch to your body form to M1 the survivor. Very boring gameplay for both sides. Instead, the developers want to encourage you to use her intestinal whip. But there are two major problems. First, if you chase a non-leeched survivor, you need to switch to your body form, so you can apply Leech 1 on them. Yes, you can apply the Leech 1 infection with your intestinal whip, but this takes 3 hits before you can damage the survivor. It's just wasted time. Being forced to switch is okay, but this awful slowdown is not okay. Next, body blocking is extremely strong against this killer when the body blocker is not leeched. Yes, you can use Headlong Flight to bypass the body blocker, but this is still difficult and depending on the tile, impossible. So you must switch to your body form and both survivors make distance. Awful. Another common situation is when you down a survivor in your head form and a non-leech survivor with a flashlight is around. This person is not only a threat due to their flashlight, but also that this survivor prevents you from picking up the downed survivor by just staying on them. This might seem a bit useless, but enables the downed survivor to maybe crawl more in the open for a flashlight save, or to crawl under a pallet. And of course, this strategy buys the team a little bit of time to finish generators. So you are forced to switch back to your body form, and due to the awful slowdown, the survivor makes distance and denies any hit. Second, in her current state, she has some pallets that she can outplay, either due to her intestinal whip or due to her vaulting speed, but some pallets are not playable and you need to break them. Since you cannot break pallets in your head form, you need to switch to your body form, which means awful slowdown, and then you can break the pallet. The result, survivor makes even more distance. My solution is that the switch becomes smoother with losing less distance, and your M2 can be used after 1 second, while breaking action can be performed immediately, but you have a 3-second penalty on your M1 attack. I feel like the head form is overall fine, but the vaulting speed over pallets is a little bit too fast. And it reminds me of the original Scamper Issue, where pallets feel so useless from the survivor POV. In my opinion, they should reduce it from 1.4 seconds to 1.6 seconds, so she can still outplay some pallets, but not completely ignore them, especially when they make the transition to body form smoother. The intestinal whip is a special attack in a head form that feels a little bit awkward to use. But the first 0.5 seconds, the attack deals no damage, but you have full control over it and you can slide on objects a little bit. Thus, this is not Chucky's or Oni's hack feature, it is more like Wesker's hack tag, where you can slide past an object if it's not directly in front of you. However, after this time window, you have very little control over it, and misses can punish you very hard since there's no short swing. Therefore, on certain tiles, it is very difficult to get the hit on a survivor since either the angle is too complex or you miss the control over the attack. In my opinion, there are 2 solutions to make her intestinal whip a bit smoother. First, give her a hack tag feature like Oni and Chucky have, so you can slide on objects to deal better with certain loops. And the other solution is to give her more control at the end of her dash, and there's no 0.5 seconds of nothing. The dash deals damage once you press the button. If the developers will do one of these changes, her intestinal whip would feel a lot better. The Headlong Flight gives her a decent map mobility, but also the ability to catch up on survivors during chase. Important to note that when you use Headlong Flight, you don't have collision with survivors, which means you can use it to go through a survivor to body block a window or a pallet. So in this case, she's similar to Wave and Vecna, where you can try to deny an option for a survivor. In addition, you don't need to wait until your whole power is back. Once 25% of it is back, you can use it again, and you also don't need to use the whole duration of it. However, the duration of it is a little bit underwhelming and should be longer, and currently the framed newspaper add-on that increases the duration by 10 seconds and also increases the recharge feels necessary to deal with bigger maps. Therefore, this add-on should become half Basekit and then the Headlong Flight would feel perfect. The Regurgitate lets you puke a little projectile. What I really love about this power is that you are encouraged to hit a survivor not directly, but an environment object, so it splatters on it and these tinier projectiles can infect the survivor. This gives the power a high skill ceiling and the opportunity to go for funny shots like you can do with Unknown. However, in my opinion, this power has a waste potential. You just need to hit the survivor one time to infect them with Leeched 1. You can never apply Leech 2 on these survivors by spamming the power on them. They reach Leech 2 after 60 seconds if they don't use a glowing fungus. This is sad, and I will personally change it so that you can inflict Leech 2 on these survivors with the projectiles to make them broken, but you can never down them, and your power has a slightly longer cooldown, and you need more hits to infect them with Leech 2. With this change, you increase the skill ceiling of this killer, but also the decision making. Do you just infect the survivor with Leech 1 and then switch to head form to injury and down them? Or do you try to injury them with the projectile and then you switch to head form to down them with power? With this middle ground play, you still force players to use head form as a chase tool while avoiding the awkward situation of her being too similar to Unknown and Plague, because you cannot down survivors with the projectile. However, this might be a hot take and I would understand if the developers would never do this, and I'm fine with it since it is still a fun to use power. Nevertheless, I will still nerf the projectile by giving it a 1 second longer cooldown, because from the survivor POV it feels a little bit underwhelming that she just needs to hit you one time and dodging gives you very little. It kind of feels like going against Trickster, where dodging one knife means nothing since he has 43 to go and can spam them all on you and some of them will hit you. And a slightly longer cooldown would also encourage the killer player to play more mindful and to be more like, okay, if I miss, I have a longer cooldown, how do I want to hit this survivor? Lastly, the big third-person view in her head form enables her to use checkpoints and to do more winnable mind games. But her body form is also useful since from afar she looks like a survivor and has a similar size like male survivors. On top of it, she's a rather quiet killer because the only sound cue she makes are survivor-like footsteps. When she uses Headlong Flight, she flies at ground level, which makes it even harder to see her until it's too late. Therefore, undetectable or oblivious shenanigans can be really powerful on her. All these tiny advantages should not be underestimated since in some situations they become handy. Now, if the developers make the transition from head to body form smoother and easier, then they should also buff the glowing fungus. In my opinion, after eating a glowing fungus, it takes 25 seconds instead of 30 seconds until the survivor is cured from the leech status effect. Then, when a leech survivor gets unhooked, their timer should go back to 1% like Wesker's infection. The reason is that currently you are in the awkward situation of why should I chase the healthy non-leech rescuer that forces me to switch to body form when I can tunnel the already infected and injured survivor. Changing this would reduce her tunnel potential, and when the developers make her transition to body form smoother, it shouldn't be a big deal to go for the rescuer. In a nutshell, her head form is a deadly chase power due to her third-person view, intestinal whip, fast vaulting speed, and the fact that she moves at 4.8, but it can also be the most useless power in the entire game when you chase a non-leech survivor since it forces you to switch to your body form. This makes body blocking extremely effective against her and can also lead into frustrating moments from the killer POV because your power is just useless. All of this would be fine if her transition to body form was smoother. Her intestinal whip is a strong special attack that needs some adjustments to feel more natural and less clunky on certain tiles. Her Headlong Flight is a decent map mobility and chase tool that feels smooth to use, but she still suffers on bigger maps since the mobility is decent but not good. The Regurgitate power in her body form has a good skill ceiling that is a bit too easy to spam since it rewards survivors less for dodging. Otherwise, her body form feels like a basic M1 killer that has, due to her average size and quiet sound cues, a good foundation for mind games but also stealth perks. Lastly, the glowing fungus counterplay is a counterplay survivors must use since the leech status effect can put them in a bad position, and since the spawns are more or less random, it gives the killer a little bit of built-in slowdown. However, from the survivor POV, the infection should be reduced more quickly, especially for how easy it is to apply it on them. Now, in this section of my video, I want to talk about her add-ons because she has some strong ones, but also some unhealthy and useless ones, which the developers need to fix. And we start with her strongest add-ons. The Chicken Head add-on is by far her strongest add-on because every survivor starts the match with a leeched 1 infection. Think about it. When the match starts, you will switch to head form to find survivors quickly, but then you must switch back to your body form so you can infect these survivors, which means awful slowdown, catching up on them, trying to hit the survivor, and once you hit the survivor, switch back to head form and leave a fungus on the ground. But with this add-on, you don't have all of these extra steps. Go in head form and chase a survivor. You can also go for a hit and run strategy and make a used fungi completely useless, since when you hit them with your intestinal whip, they take damage and the infection is back. So if done right, you can basically keep these survivors forever in Leech 2, or at the very least in Leech 1 infection status. Another passive effect of this add-on is the slowdown, since survivors won't start the match and working on generators, no. They start the match and go for the fungus. Overall, it only works at the start of the match, but gives you such an easy match start. I expect that the developers will nerf this add-on because it is so disgustingly strong. My suggestion is that the match starts with 3 extra fungus, so survivors have 9 by default instead of 6, and survivors get 5 seconds sooner rid of the infection after eating a fungus. Even with these downsides, Chicken Head add-on would be still an insane add-on, but survivors have slightly more options to counter it in a better way. Next, we have the Framed Newspaper add-on that gives you 10 more charges for your Headlong Flight, which means you can fly for 20 instead of the default 10 seconds. And the recharge time is increased by 25%, which is also really nice. However, it has the downside of it that you must wait until 50% of your charges are back before you can use it again. By default, you must wait until 25% of your charges are back. Nevertheless, this add-on is insanely good because you can deal so much better with bigger or larger maps such as Greenwood Square, Ormond or Batham. You also saw it in my second match, how easy it was to catch up on a survivor that was already pre-running thanks to this add-on. The downside is also not that big of a deal, since the recovery time is quick and by the time you need to fly again, it will be already above 50%. You also need to keep in mind that you don't need to use every charge of it. Overall, a perfect add-on that gives her a better map mobility, and honestly, it should become half Basekit because it already feels so necessary on her. The Lorenza's Remains add-on applies the blindness status effect on leech survivors, and once a survivor is in Leech 2, they move 4% slower. Now, unless these survivors are really careless or you have an insane fungus management, it rarely happens that survivors are constantly in Leech 2 and therefore suffer from a good 4% hindered status effect. Nevertheless, this add-on is still amazing because its first effect counters so many comp perks on the survivor side, such as Windows of Opportunity, Deja Vu, King Red or Scene Partner, and this is a big deal. But keep in mind, glowing fungus are still not affected by blindness. Overall, it has a decent and simple effect that is so easy to apply on survivors since you will put them in Leech 1 anyway. When a survivor is under a glowing fungus effect, they suffer from the oblivious status effect thanks to the broken Tiara add-on. This is another great add-on because survivors need to use the glowing fungus, and the HUD tells you when a survivor is under its effect and therefore oblivious. And like I said earlier, the Krasue has a great stealth, which means this add-on enables you to sneak up on survivors and get a free hit on them if they are not careful enough. Overall, a simple add-on that can be used pretty effectively. The Shredder Crown reveals the aura of survivors that are within 8 meters of glowing fungus or when they hold one in their hands for 5 seconds. Not gonna lie, this add-on was a little bit complicated to understand because it doesn't reveal the survivor's aura whenever they are nearby a glowing fungus. No, their aura gets revealed when they are within 8 meters of a glowing fungus and when you switch your mode in a similar moment. So you will never get constantly aura reading on these survivors unless you constantly switch back and forth your modes. Similar restriction goes for the survivors holding a glowing fungus. When they hold one in their hands and you switch your mode, then you will see their aura. This has the drawback that you can give survivors more glowing fungus than you want because you need to switch modes to see their aura. On top of it, you cannot see the glowing fungus or when someone picks one up. Nevertheless, the Shredder Crown is still a really good add-on because when survivors find a glowing fungus, they should always pick them up for later. In addition, over the course of the match, you need to switch your modes, which means you will see their aura. Beyond that, you can also use this fact to your advantage. Since a glowing fungus spawns on the spot where your body dies, you can do this on purpose on tile loops to get aura reading on a survivor to mind game them doing a chase. It is a very complicated add-on, but once you get used to it, you can take so many advantage out of it. The Pig's Eye add-on reveals the aura of survivors that just ate a glowing fungus farther than 40 meters away from you. This add-on is really good because the HUD tells you when a survivor ate a glowing fungus, which means you can look around to see the aura, and if you don't see them, you can kinda guess that they might be nearby. In addition, Headlong Flight also provides the map mobility to benefit from the information. Overall, a good add-on that might be in some situations really helpful, especially you have to keep in mind, when a survivor gets unhooked, they are still in leached 1 infection and have to aid with glowing fungus, which means when you see the aura, you can be like, okay, this survivor is dead on hook, I go for this one, thank you for the information, Pig's Eye. The Spattered Handkerchief add-on activates once all generators are repaired. Every survivor will be afflicted with leached 1 and glowing fungi start to disappear while you no longer leave glowing fungus when you switch to head mode. This add-on is nice for potential comeback and excellent for endgame builds with No Way Out and Remember Me, because survivors have a difficult time to get rid of the infection, which means they will reach leech 2 / become broken and can neither escape nor go for rescues. Overall, a good add-on for great surprises. When you hit a survivor with your intestinal whip, the attack will also splatter leeching gland around this survivor thanks to the Queen Scepter add-on. This can be helpful in situations where survivors group up and fail to body block, like for example after they unhook and try to heal someone. So the add-on makes it a lot easier to infect non-leech survivors in your head form. And another little advantage is that this add-on can be paired with the Rotten Swine and Mysterious Elixier add-on, since a splattering due to this add-on also counts as marking in an object for these 2 add-ons. However, the range of the splatter is rather short and usually body blocking against her is not that difficult. On top of it, pairing it with one of the 2 mentioned add-ons is cool, but in practice it barely ever happens. The Chunk of Malai add-on decreases the glowing fungus cleanse rate by 8% for each leech survivor. This also includes survivors that are already under the glowing fungus effect. It takes 30 seconds by default until a survivor is completely free from the leech status effect. Therefore, if one survivor is infected, it takes them 2.4 seconds longer, while the maximum is 9.6 seconds. However, unless survivors run out of glowing fungus or you use the chicken head add-on, it will never take 9.6 seconds. On average, it will take 5 seconds longer, which can be helpful in some situations, but never in a reliable way. The Wriggling Parasite increases the growth rate of leech by 10%, while also increasing the cleanse rate of glowing fungi by 10%. This means that a survivor in leech 1 will reach leech 2 6 seconds sooner, while a survivor that ate a glowing fungi gets rid of the infection 3 seconds sooner. Overall, a surprisingly good effect, but it feels like that this add-on is currently bugged and doesn't fill the leech status effect faster, because I tested it and the result was always 60 seconds and not 55 seconds. Therefore, I assume that the developers will fix this bug, but even then, I cannot see this add-on as a great add-on, because survivors still need to be really careless to reach leech 2 infection, and even when you have a good glowing fungus management, they will reach leech 2 anyway. 6 seconds don't make a big difference with the right management. The Defective Metronome makes survivors exhausted if they stay under the glowing fungus effect. It is a decent add-on that can be helpful to deny strong exhaustion perks like Life, Spin Burst or Dramaturgy. However, a survivor will never eat a fungus during a chase, since this slows them down and you can reinfect them in no time. They will eat the fungus outside of chase and when they feel safe, so you will barely ever chase a survivor that stays under the glowing fungus effect, and therefore barely ever deny their exhaustion perks. In addition, denying exhaustion perks is nice, but she's not that type of killer that suffers a lot from these types of perks. In my opinion, the developers should change the effect and survivors should become exhausted when they suffer from the leeched infection, since then this add-on would be more reliable. The Sticky Lozenge add-on shows you a preview of where the Regurgitate will land on. This is a nice beginner-friendly add-on to get a feeling of how does the hitbox and range works. However, once you have a feeling for it, you will never use it again. The Luckless Mouse add-on increases the charges of Headlong Flight by 2, which means you can use it for 2 seconds longer. For Brown add-on, it does a pretty good job without any drawbacks, but still gets outclassed by the Framed Newspaper add-on. However, overall, a comfy add-on that can be used alongside the Framed Newspaper add-on or on its own if you don't like the drawback of the Framed Newspaper add-on. The Crumpled Cheat Music add-on gives you 10 charges to a Headlong Flight back when a survivor is hit by a leeching gland. This basically basically means if you use your whole Headlong Flight power and then affect the survivor with a leeching gland, your Headlong Flight charges come back immediately. This add-on can be used alongside the framed newspaper add-on to compensate its drawback a little bit, but overall it is a rather underwhelming add-on. You don't need to wait until your whole power is back before you can use Headlong Flight again, and the default recovery time feels fine. And beyond that, by the time you infect the survivor and get the hit on them, your Headlong Flight should be already back to catch up on the survivor. So overall, a rather underwhelming add-on that can get some buffs to make it more reliable and nicer to use. The first Libretto add-on decreases the Headlong Flight's consumption rate by 20% for 15 seconds after hooking a leeched survivor. This gives you roughly a 2-second longer Headlong Flight if you use all of it. This effect is very cute and encourages you to not camp, but the duration is way too short for what you have to do and what better add-on options you have. In my opinion, they should increase the duration to 45 seconds and then first Libretto would become a more viable add-on. The mysterious Elixier add-on has the effect that a window that got marked by puking on it gets blocked for 10 seconds after vaulting it in your head form. This effect sounds nice in theory, especially when this killer struggles with some windows, but it's too difficult to achieve because you need to be in body form to be able to puke on a window and then switch to your head form. You could pair it with the Queen Scepter add-on, yes, this works, but then you waste 2 add-on slots and it's still so unreliable. In addition, if you don't want to be useless against some windows on specific maps, just run Bamboozle, which also increases the vaulting speed and lets you run stronger add-ons like the chicken head one. In my opinion, this add-on needs 2 additional effects to become more viable. First, you should be able to mark more than one window, so you can quote-unquote re-chap them. And second, when you mark a window, you vault this one 20% faster in your body form. This would also make the body form more useful with this add-on. Next we have the useless add-ons that you should never use, and we start with Rotten Swine. And Jesus Christ, this add-on is so useless, it is so garbage. Because 10% means nothing and it's just a wasted add-on slot. Yes, sometimes you can puke on drop pallets. Keep in mind, it only works on drop pallets, you cannot remark it to infect the survivor with the splatters, but the 10% won't make any differences, and you also have the Headlong Flight to catch up faster. She can catch up on survivors and distance means little against her. Picking generators, on the other hand, often happens in your head form since you use it for mobility, and when you find a generator with good progress, you will never switch to your body form, puke on it, then kick it, and then switch back to your head form. This is just a waste of time and gives the survivors a fungus next to the generator they are aware of. Overall, way too much effort for too little reward. It should be either 25% by default, or if you want to have something more interesting, keep the 10%, but add the effect that for each leech survivor, it gives you an additional 10% bonus speed. This rewards you more for spreading infection and can be sometimes helpful. It also enables you to play a fast kick build with Brutal Strange and fire up if you want to play something funny like this. The Janjira Sand add-on is another scam add-on. It tells you that you gain 2 Headlong Flight charges whenever a generator is repaired. By default you have 10 Headlong Flight charges, but this add-on doesn't increase the charges in total, like for example when survivors finish 1 generator you have 12 charges, once 2 generators are repaired you have 14 charges, and once every generator is repaired you have 20 charges in total and therefore a 20-second long Headlong Flight. No, with this add-on you will always have 10 charges, but when your Headlong Flight power is recovering and in this moment these survivors pop a generator, then you gain 2 charges, which basically means your power is less on cooldown. It also gives you a 25% faster recovery rate for 15 seconds once a generator is repaired, and once all generators are repaired your Headlong Flight is fully recharged and the recharge rate is permanently increased by 25%. This is so bad, I'm so sorry, this add-on is really bad, it is so garbage. There will barely ever a situation in which gaining 2 charges back due to a pop generator will be helpful, especially when you don't have to wait until it's fully back before you can use it again. This add-on is just garbage, I'm so sorry, it's so bad. I personally would change in the way I thought it would work. Whenever a generator is repaired, your total Headlong Flight charges are increased by 2, which means once all generators are repaired, you have a 20 charges in total and therefore a 20-second long Headlong Flight in total. I would also increase the duration of the increased recharge rate to 30 seconds instead of 15 seconds. With these changes, this add-on would become a nice alternative to the framed newspaper add-on, especially for more endgame orientated builds. But in its current state, never use it, it is so bad. The Dulled Knife add-on is another false friend. The add-on reduces the consuming charges by 25%, which is nice, but basically means you can fly for 3 seconds longer. This add-on gets already outclassed by the Luckless Mouse add-on and the Framed Newspaper add-on because they give you either a similar duration without a drawback or a much longer one. On top of it, they don't buff survivors when they eat a glowing fungus. Survivors gain 10% haste and leave no scratch marks and pools of blood and make no grunts of pain sounds for 5 seconds after eating a glowing fungus. This downside can lead in situations where you can miss or even lose a survivor, especially when they use this effect against you in chase. Overall, this add-on is just bad due to its downside, and other add-ons give you a similar or even better effect for less drawbacks. In my opinion, this add-on should get a rework. Maybe something like survivors have 2 fungus less at the start of the trial, or it takes 10 seconds longer until a new fungus spawns from your body. The Theater Binoculars is an add-on that lets you make bad decisions for a supposed reward. You should never hit a non-leech survivor with your intestinal rip, because this gives you nothing. It is just wasted time, especially when you miss. In addition, in many situations, the R reading tells you either nothing or nothing important. On top of it, 24 meters is smaller than you think. You just waste your time for something that sounds like a reward, but in reality, it lets you make bad decisions. Overall, a false friend add-on that needs a rework. My idea is whenever you down a leech survivor with your intestinal rip, every survivor within 24 meters screams and reveals their position. This turns the add-on into a nice info tool that rewards you for downing survivors. Now, you have probably noticed that I spent a lot of time with the Krasue on the PTB and tested a bunch of stuff with her. And let me tell you, I'm looking forward to the killer's release because I love her design and her power is so fun to use. If the developers change nothing on her and release her PTB version, I can see her between high B and low A, but for more or less the wrong reasons. My wish is that the developers will tweak and change her in the right direction so she can still become a good A tier killer, but for the right reasons, and that it makes fun to play as and against her. But let me know in the comments what you think about this killer. What changes are you hoping for? And if you will main her once she's released. I hope you enjoyed the video and I see you in the next one. Have a great day or night. Bye.